Last time on D&D. When the adventurers arrive at the Tower of Urm, they see a vast sea of boiling blood surrounding a tower that had magically placed itself there. On the balcony of the tower, a wizard who matches the description of Mordenkainen speaks, using magic to enhance his voice. He tells the Yugolas that are eagerly awaiting some good-paying work that he will need 2 of them today. From the lowly rabble, he picks the 2 that look most capable and teleports them to the balcony. A few moments later, after receiving their instruction, the 2 Yugolas are teleported back to the shore of the Blood Lake where they begin discussing their next move. Mirth listens in on their infernal conversation and relays that they have been sent by Mordenkainen to find an artifact called the Hand of Vecna at a place called Arken's Tower. The Yugolas become frustrated as they have no idea who Arken is or where this supposed tower might reside. When Eminem hears mention of the Hand of Vecna, he immediately ejaculates, instantly, as if it were his trigger word. While Eminem is desperately ready to abandon the adventurers' current mission in order to hunt for this artifact, the other members wish to talk to Mordenkainen and finish their task. Mordenkainen sees the adventurers milling about and inquires about their reason for being there. The adventurers mention that they are looking for a place called the Bleeding Citadel, and were told if anyone around here were to know of such a place, that it would be him. If Mordenkainen actually knew the location is unclear, but he tells the adventurers of a lowly wizard who is not good for much of anything really, but that may have the information they seek. He tells the adventurers that they can find this other wizard near an obelisk not too far from there. The adventurers thank him for nothing and make their way to this obelisk. When they arrive, they see an average-looking man cursing at himself, surrounded by 7 standing stones which encircle him and the obelisk. He begs the adventurers for their help in freeing him from this magical prison, and in return would tell the adventurers where the Bleeding Citadel is located. The adventurers see through this mage's ruse, and the mage reveals himself to be a gorilla-like demon named Ubalox, and that while he did try to deceive the adventurers, he truly does know the location of the Bleeding Citadel. Ubalox directs the adventurers to a mirror made of ice, called the Mirror of Mephistar, that can be used to contact the archdevil of another plane who could free him. He tells the adventurers if they do this, and return with the means of freeing him, he will tell them where the Bleeding Citadel is. At this point, Eminem interjects and posits that they first visit Arken's Tower, as it would be on the way to the Mirror of Mephistar, and the rest of the adventurers hesitantly agree, not knowing the full extent to which Eminem craves this artifact. On the way to Arken's Tower, the adventurers come upon a particular sight not often seen in Avernus. A small grove of trees come into view, and a green elf-like creature who looks as if he were made of leaves is seen pissing into the wind, standing on top of a big boulder. Dick still in hand, he turns towards the adventurers and gives them a hearty wave before jumping down from the rock and next to his own devil's ride. The chipper elf introduces himself as Smiler the Defiler and explains that he used to have a big gang that he was the leader of, and that the other warlords noticed his growing power and decided to team up against him. With his gang destroyed, the only warlord to offer their aid was Mad Maggie, who helped him get back on his feet, and then he went on his way. Smiler asked the adventurers if he could join them, as it would be quite fun. He also asked if they ever run into one of the warlords that betrayed him, if he could viciously murder them. What joy! Smiler and Mirth agree that he was to point at any given person he wished to torture, and look for her permission before doing so. With a new ally in tow, they make their way to Arken's Tower. When they are about 100 or so feet from the tower, the adventurers decide to stash their vehicles, hiding them using Smiler's hallucinatory terrain spell. As they approach the black tower, which pierces the sky, lightning starts striking the ground at an increasing rate. The ever-present light of the sky is dimmed by the black clouds swirling around the tower. Dozens of undead crawl over the ramparts of the tower, and dozens of others wander aimlessly around its base. A white dragon can be seen overhead, which emits a roar that shakes the ground around the adventurers. A turtle named Cruel wielding a mace made of 2 skulls is alerted to the adventure's presence and asks them what they are doing there. Corona mouths off to Cruel, and with a snap of his fingers, Corona vanishes into thin air. Once it became clear that Cruel was not simply going to let the adventurers have the artifact, or even tell them where it was without some kind of offering... am I reading this right? Did Eminem really cast a fireball on him right then and there? Dear Lord, did he not see the dozens of undead or the fucking dragon in the sky? Was he not even slightly fazed by Corona literally disappearing right before his eyes? No? Very well then. Eminem, sick of all this talk, let loose a fireball that singes Cruel. The other adventurers, in shock of Eminem's rash actions, try to gather some semblance of control over the situation by offering Cruel the life of Eminem in return for theirs. Cruel demands that they drop all of their possessions and leave immediately if they do not wish to die. However, it seems materialism had grasped all of the adventurers as one by one they leave a pitiful offering, some not even being real, and try to flee. Cruel orders his undead to stop pursuing the other adventurers as his sole focus was on destroying this small, insolent creature that dared to try to defeat him. He had successfully pushed Eminem to the brink of death when Corona appears back from being banished. He had thought for a moment, one gleeful moment, that he was finally free of Avernus and had returned to the material plane, only to be brought back in a mere moment into this literal hellhole. Not knowing the bargain being struck between the other adventurers and Cruel, Corona scoops up Eminem and begins to run away. This infuriates Cruel, who commands the undead and dragon to attack the fleeing adventurers. The undead and the dragon are momentarily distracted by the surviving knights, who manage to hold them off for a moment. Once dead, the dragon continues to the other adventurers, attacking both Smiler and Endormu as they race back to their vehicles. Mirth and Darius start up their infernal war machines. Mirth doubles back to pick up Corona and Eminem, while Corona leaves the keys in the ignition of the Devil's Ride as it is released in order for Endormu to successfully escape. Staying barely alive due to a barrage of claw attacks from the dragon, Endormu and Smiler finally reach their respective rides and take off, leaving the chaos behind them in the dust. How will Eminem explain his reckless actions? Will the party still accept him? What will they do next? Tune in next time to find out on D&D!